Hey everyone, my name's Rose Waltz, and I'm a Twitch streamer or online content creator primarily focusing on Twitch streaming. And just recently this year, I finally got that beloved email that I'd been accepted to the Twitch Partners program. This was super exciting. It was largely my biggest milestone I wanted to hit for streaming, and one that felt out of reach for a really long time. So I figured it'd be interesting to kind of explain how I got there, how I improved at streaming and the things I did to increase viewership or engagement, and maybe you'll find something in this story that you might be able to apply to your streams. I don't want to preface this like a do these 5 tips to succeed at Twitch video, because I don't think there are a set of tips that will help people succeed, but I feel like learning from other people's stories will maybe give you a bit of inspiration or give you something that you can include in your own streams that might set you on the right path. So first off, I want to start with the early days of streaming. I'm a terribly introverted person and not super social, even in online spaces, and so I started streaming as a way to kind of learn and familiarize myself with a way to actually interact with people online and make friends and whatnot. And so I figured streaming and forcing myself to interact and forcing myself to communicate would be a good way to do that. It turns out I'm still terribly introverted and bad at online social spaces, but it turns out streaming was super fun, so I just rolled with it. In my early days of streaming, my streaming schedule was non-existent, and the games I played were all over the place. I would just come back home from work, I would be like, oh, okay, I have some time. I don't really want to play anything else, so I guess I'll pop on the stream, and I would play, I don't know, Spin Rhythm XD for 20 minutes, or Final Fantasy XIV for 30 minutes or something. I had no idea how to be entertaining, had no idea how to be engaging, had no idea what games were good for me to stream. A not insignificant portion of me wanting to be a streamer became from a little bit of delusions of grandeur from my Twitter account. I had just created one and was getting a respectable following. I had about 1,000, 2,000 followers at the time I started streaming, and expected, oh, you know, that'll just 1-to-1 equal over to my Twitch stream, which is not the case. Even now, and I'm sure some of you have noticed who have Twitch followings, getting people from Twitter to Twitch or from any other social to Twitch is not exactly the easiest thing in the book. And even today, when I have 50,000 Twitter followers, it's still just a fraction of my actual views that come from Twitch. It's like 7 per stream come from Twitter or something. So definitely don't expect having a large following somewhere else to equate these huge numbers on Twitch like I did. However, after getting a bit of a reality check and kind of seeing that I do enjoy this streaming thing, I decided I would actually try to focus up and do something real. I fixed my lighting, which in the early days was just changing my webcam settings. The other thing was I got a microphone that works. I've stuck with this one for a while. And I also just started to try to make my stream layout look ever so slightly more professional by buying stream overlay things on Fiverr, like graphic design things. The point of this story is none of that matters, right? You can have top-of-the-line equipment, you can have top-of-the-line visuals, and it's not really going to help you with your engagement or getting people to your stream. It might help people stay, absolutely, when they see that your stream has good quality, but the biggest barrier to becoming larger on Twitch is definitely getting people into your stream, in my opinion. So that brought me to 2022-ish when I decided, okay, I'm gonna buckle down, I'm going to have a specific brand, a specific vibe, and I landed on variety streamer, which kind of sounds like the opposite, but let me preface this a little bit more. I wanted to variety stream games that were meaningful to me. So what this looked like in the early days was I would stream specific game franchises that I really enjoyed and thought would be interesting for people to see all the way through. These were, in the early days, Devil May Cry, No More Heroes, Metal Gear Solid, and this is something I still do to this day. We're playing through the Halo franchise right now, and I plan to do this forever. It's a ton of fun. And finding that kind of like core, I guess, of what I wanted my streams to be was really the deciding factor in figuring all of this out. from that point forward, I wanted to also make a more definitive schedule. Instead of just streaming whenever I had free time after work, I wanted to specify times when people could expect to show up. So for me, having a full-time job, finding that time was difficult, but I decided on Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday as my stream days. Originally, it was only Wednesday, Thursday as I was getting into it, and then eventually expanded into a Sunday weekend stream. But that was really the key. It gave people expectations of when my stream will be coming live, expectations of what kind of games will be occurring on that day. So in my instance, on Wednesdays, I had kind of a free-for-all day where I would just play whatever. However, it's now shifted into a Pokemon Nuzlocking day. Thursday was my franchise playthrough day, and Sundays were my model kit building and fighting game days. And having this kind of schedule and themed idea for the days was really huge. A lot of people I would see would tune in just for specific days. And while that might seem like a detriment, like, oh, they're not viewing your stream always, it's good to know that they have something to look forward to and they become like a critical viewer of those days, if that makes sense. And that was really step one of getting everything together. It was really a game changer for me because once I had the schedule, once people knew they could come to the streams, I could start to expand and hone in on how to be entertaining during those streams. Now, from this point on, my journey on Twitch largely occurred outside of Twitch, if that makes sense. A lot of it, and I'm sure you've heard this before, was using these different social media sites like TikTok, which has been huge, or YouTube, to kind of show people the content that can happen on your streams in the form of highlights or other short videos, and kind of pushing them in the direction of, hey, if you want to see all of this, come over to the Twitch stream. And this took a very long time. I think for the entirety of 2022, I was on the order of 5 to 15 viewers max. Like, viewership was not great, and for that whole year, growth was minimal, especially once I had split my viewer base 3 ways with the 3 different variety streams. However, you kind of just have to push through that, because once people know what they're coming in for, and if they enjoy the stuff that you're making, they'll stick around, and they'll keep tuning in, and eventually that viewership will grow. So that leads me to the start of 2023, when I really started to buckle down on streaming. I was like, this is it. I enjoy it. I think it's super fun. And so that's what I did. I played through Metal Gear Solid for most of 2023, and people seemed to really enjoy that. A lot of people hadn't even seen Metal Gear Solid before, and they're incredibly fun games to stream with, as a not insignificant amount of them are cutscenes that you can just kind of, react to or let play if you're particularly creatived out at the moment. And then you have like gameplay sections where you can be creative and figure stuff out. I also played some RPGs during my Wednesday streams before we started to buckle down on the Pokemon Nuzlocks. So I would do Yakuza, we played Nier Replicant all the way through. It was just kind of a grab bag to see what my viewers were resonating with, and it was a really key part of like market research, I guess. I hate talking about my stream this way. But to figure out what people really enjoyed. And then Sunday was just for me. It was me building Gundam and me playing fighting games, which I had recently gotten into and started to really enjoy. And it was a little selfish, I guess. But I enjoyed playing that stuff and building the model kits. So I was like, if other people enjoy it, that's great too. And it just kind of worked out that they did. So I've kind of told you how I structured up my stream, but the biggest thing I want to talk to you about is patience, I guess. None of my growth was explosive. None of my growth came from a viral YouTube video or a viral TikTok highlight or anything like that. It was slow and steady, and is still slow and steady, and that's just the way things are. I'm going to continue to make content, and maybe one of these days we'll get something viral, but I don't want to like put all my eggs in the I hope I go viral basket, right? I'm just taking each of my stream days, seeing how I can improve, and the growth will come slowly but surely. And I think especially in 2022, when my growth was near zero, it was disheartening. And if it wasn't for the fact that I enjoyed streaming so much, I probably wouldn't be doing it anymore. And I think that's another key takeaway. If you're streaming just for, I don't know, the chance at being a huge, big streamer that makes a lot of money and you won't have to do a normal job or something like that. I don't think it's a terrible goal to strive for, but I also don't think it should be your expectation. It's a little bit hard to do what all those big streamers have done. They put an immense amount of work into the things that they do, and it's not like they just happened to roll into it because they decided they wanted to be a streamer one day. If you don't enjoy it, I really think it's going to be difficult to grow your Twitch stream because people will know you won't enjoy it. They can kind of pick up on that. So that's the biggest thing. You really have to enjoy what you're doing and not get disheartened by some of the slow months, slow weeks, or in my case, slow years. Another thing to not get disheartened by is when I did finally meet that path to partner achievement and put in my application, I got denied. I got denied because I wasn't consistent enough, I believe. I had just come off of Armored Core 6's release, which I typically don't chase newly released or popular games, but Armored Core 6 fell so far into my wheelhouse I'd be stupid to ignore it, and got a ton of impressions on the Twitch homepage through their specific like Armored Core category thing they promoted to the homepage, and it was really cool, and viewership was high. But it was like Armored Core streams every other stream. And so even though the averages were there, Twitch knew my consistency wasn't. And that was probably the most disheartening thing, was getting that first application denied. So if you're applying to partner, just keep it up. From what I can tell, everybody gets denied the first time, at least. And so as long as you keep up your consistency, keep up your quality, keep up your viewer engagement, I think you'll get there. And so that kind of sums up my journey. It's far from over. Partner was pretty much like goal number 1, I suppose. And so if you'd like to tune in with my journey, follow me on any of my socials. My Twitch is Rose_Waltz. It feels weird to plug it at this point in the video, but it is there. And I hope somewhere along the way you found something in this unscripted, rambly mess of a video that you might be able to apply to your streams, or something to add to your mindset to just kind of iron defense against any of the disheartening moments that might tune in, because we've all been there. And so I hope you got something out of this, and it's not the kind of video I normally make, so I'm just gonna say goodbye, and that'll be the end of the video.